Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is up nationally by 1 point, according to Rasmussen. Now, you have to ask yourself, if you have 3 polls, just like in 2016, 4 polls, 5 polls, that say Trump down by 10, down by 11, down by 12, then you have the 1 poll, according to Trafalgar, the Trafalgar Group, and Rasmussen, were correct. The Trafalgar Group and Rasmussen were correct. Every other polling company, every other pollster, all the famous pollsters that liberals love were dreadfully wrong about their electoral college maps. Now, first and foremost, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So my super chat, I just thank you so very, very much. And be here at 9 p.m. tonight. Because we're going to have amazing live streams and amazing uploads. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell for this channel. Make sure your phone allows YouTube notifications. And I mean, it's heating up. President Trump is going 8 years, but there was a dust-up, a kind of altercation on social media between all the usual suspects in terms of the smart, educated intelligentsia, the polling experts, and the Trafalgar Group, specifically one gentleman from 538. So Mr. Silver did not like Trafalgar's latest polls in Michigan because he said, well, Trump isn't going to win 30% of Democrats. And who knows how Trafalgar got their got the data, or how they expressed the data within the polls. I don't know. Trump probably will not get 30% of Democrats, but he'll get a good number. He'll get close to the number of independents. But anyway, Trafalgar also said that Biden would get 25% of Republicans. So I don't know how they come up with that. Maybe they're actually adding in the unaffiliated independent voter, and throughout their mathematical equation or their data. They just move a certain percentage of unaffiliated voters to Republican and Democrat, and that's how President Trump wins, or Biden wins a certain amount. Who knows? I don't care. They were right. 538. Everybody else they were all wrong. The New York Times, Nate Cohn, he wrote that Clinton has a solid electoral college lead. These are all brilliant people. These are all wonderful, brilliant intelligentsia. They're very intelligent. I have nothing bad to say about Nate Silver or Nate Cohn or Harry Hinton or anybody. They're all they're extremely intelligent. They're going to be wrong again. They're going to be wrong again. And the reason they're going to be wrong is that whereas Trafalgar and Rasmussen actually address reasons to vote for President Trump, or people that are completely ignored who will vote for President Trump. So whether it's The Economist or 538 or RCP or Quinnipiac or ABC News or CNN poll that they outsource to a public relations firm, these polls are not scientific. They're public relations. They don't reflect reality. They try to shape reality. Trafalgar and Rasmussen try to, in their own ways, reflect reality with their polls in 2016, and they'll be right again in 2020. I was right. I was quoted alongside Nate Silver by NPR. The quote is below. In 2015, I said Clinton couldn't win swing states. 538 said Trump wouldn't be GOP nominee. We're both quoted in the same article in the first paragraph in NPR. That link is below. So You have to ask yourself, does it make sense if this is the antithesis of science? You wouldn't want a vaccine, or you wouldn't want an equation on how fast an asteroid or a meteor is coming to Earth, is heading towards Earth based on this type of algorithm or number crunching. Does it make sense that a Quinnipiac or ABC News or CNN poll within the week says that Trump is down 11, and then Rasmussen and Trafalgar say Trump is up by 1 or Trump is tied nationally, and they're the ones who end up being right in 2016 and 2020, and the same people who got it wrong by a wide margin are still celebrated among the intelligentsia? Does that make any sense at all? Like, this is one of the reasons Democrats will lose. Oh, there was actually during the Economist, there was somebody from the Economist that said, well, we don't ask questions because there was a question about the former vice president's son. How do you feel about the former vice president's son? And one of the Economist pollsters said, well, we don't ask this question of our, we try to factor out political bias. Asking the question, what do you think of Trump's handling of the pandemic, is a political question, because all you've had is media. When Leslie Stahl literally ignores President Trump's concerns regarding Biden not being asked tough questions, and I still can't believe, so I'm still going with what I've been saying, because I can't believe they would deliberately tank there. But President Trump's going 8 years, and I've been saying that for 4 years. But when you're wrong 2 years in a row, maybe you should look at people who were right 2 years in a row. I don't care if I get props or I don't care. I'm talking about Trafalgar and Rasmussen. If they're right 2 years in a row, who cares how they get to the data? And how they get to the data by looking at voters who aren't counted by traditional polls. That's important. But when Christian O'Brien, they both have ump. Chump and Trump, they both have ump. I forgot even what I said. Christian O'Brien, thank you. When you look at polls, and you look at The Economist, for example, they're trying to, because all of these pollsters are now going after Trafalgar and Rasmussen, and it's really funny too, because I don't know how they do it, but they're saying that Trafalgar was lucky and Rasmussen was lucky. It's like, well, you were dreadfully wrong, all of you. Now they're saying, oh, well, we don't ask biased questions. The Economist said that. Yes, you do. You ask questions that are linked to media coverage. The media coverage has blamed Trump for what happened in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, California. These are the states that lead the country. California is actually doing better, a lot better than in aggregate than most Democratic-run states. But you look at New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Connecticut, Michigan. These states have the highest fatality rate in the country, and they have the greatest number of lives lost. How is that Trump's fault? All of these governors have a State of the State address. That they had a State of the State address, like the president has a State of the Union address. All these governors had a State of a State address in January and February. Not one of these governors mentioned the pandemic. Not one. Not one. And there were already, like when they say, well, he told Bob Woodward it was serious. There were already articles saying 1 million people could lose their lives. 2 million people could lose their lives. Everything he told Bob Woodward was public record knowledge. And if you're going to blame Trump for not telling the country, did Bob Woodward save any lives? Did the intelligence? So you mean to tell me that the intelligence community and Bob Woodward told Trump the severity, but they didn't tell anyone just so they could then come out and say Trump didn't tell people? So the intelligence community leaked the Steele dossier, which was unverified and reported by 60 Minutes and reported by Leslie Stahl and reported by, or at least her station, her television station or television company, and reported by the entire country. And everyone from the New York Times to the Washington Post. Well, we can't report unverified news. Well, how did you report on the Steele dossier? That was completely unverified, and it was actually celebrated. This is unverified, but we have to talk about it and let the people decide. You know what? You know what the head of BuzzFeed said? We have to let the people decide. Why don't you let the people decide regarding the vice president's son? Oh, that's right. The people have already decided, by the way. President Trump's going 8 years. The corruption is, if you lose elections, every election, where even your rigged, fabricated polls show that President Trump is moving up because of computers that you owned. Okay, these are computers that they owned. When they say that Russia interfered, they're saying that Russia hacked their computers to inform the country what they were talking about. The underlying theme here is that Republicans are just as bad, but they're not. Not nearly just as bad. Not this era. Parabiology 101. Even Rasmussen is doing it wrong this year, undercounting Trump voters by inexplicably theorizing only 74% of Republicans will vote for Trump. Exactly. Parabiology 101. Parabiology 101. Thank you. I agree with you. This is the thing. You look at the Michigan exit polls, and they mirror everyone married voted for Trump. Everyone who was somewhat religious voted for Trump, or identified with a religion voted for Trump. Or I shouldn't say that. Everyone who was married voted for Trump. You just look at the exit polls. President Trump won the vote that Republicans usually win, and then some. And then some, because the vote black voters and Latino voters are going to give President Trump the victory. Because more black and Latino voters are going to vote for President Trump, and I've been saying this for years. For 4 years. And less African American and black and Latino and Hispanic voters will vote for Democrats, because Democrats are run by media and Hollywood and public relations and AOC. AOC will not push a Medicare for all bill. She hasn't. Have you heard her talk about a specific bill? And if you have, why aren't Democrats? So let's say I'm wrong. She spoke about a specific bill, then why aren't Democrats passing it in the House? Why aren't Democrats talking about a Green New Deal? Because they're embarrassed. They know that they would lose Pennsylvania and Michigan and Ohio and the Rust Belt states. They don't believe in their own value system. So then how can you win an election? How can you win elections when your rhetoric doesn't correlate with your actions? When you say climate change is an existential threat, meaning your existence is threatened, and you don't even have a Green New Deal bill, they have not passed legislation that is a Green New Deal. They passed a climate bill. That's not a Green New Deal legislation. He's not saying this is an existential threat, although I am. A nuclear confrontation can happen tomorrow and end the planet tomorrow. When President Trump, so hold on one second. This is interesting, and people roll their eyes at it. Um, This is Realtor.com, okay? I'm not making this up. Barack and Michelle Obama are buying this island retreat for $14.8 million. It's peculiar. After years of vacationing in Martha's Vineyard, Barack and Michelle Obama may finally be ready to purchase a home of the affluent island off the coast of Massachusetts. Okay. So, the former president and first lady are reportedly in escrow on a $14.8 million property in Edgartown. Does this mean climate change is not real? Of course not. Does this mean climate change is not serious? Of course not. Climate change is very serious. Okay? President Obama, the most popular and beloved Democrat since JFK, is not purchasing a $14.8 million home because he thinks that sea levels will rise. He's purchasing it because it's a beautiful home overlooking, the Atlantic, and it's gorgeous, and he wants to enjoy, summer nights right near the beach, and it's absolutely beautiful, which, God bless him, he should. But you know what? This is not indicative of an existential threat. The sea levels are not going to rise tomorrow to the point where President Obama has to sell his $14.8 million beachfront property home. That is not a rebuttal to climate change. That's a rebuttal to the rhetoric associated with climate change. I want to know exactly why a Democrat who has talked about climate change but also presided over the largest expansion of domestic oil and gas production in our country's history, the rhetoric is the problem. The issue is important. The rhetoric is the problem. The shaming of others is the problem. If you dare question any science associated with climate change, you would be viewed by Bill Nye as the most horrible human being. But is President Obama a horrible human being for buying beachfront property? Of course not. But does it make sense to buy beachfront property when sea levels will rise and climate change will make living on the beach impossible? He doesn't believe it's existential. That's my point. The word existential is an alarmist, inaccurate term to describe the effects of climate change. It is a serious issue that over 100 or 200 or 300 years will affect the planet severely. Now, nuclear confrontation can affect the planet tomorrow. You know how we get to a nuclear confrontation? Listen to Madam Secretary and have a no-fly zone above Damascus. Then you'll have Top Gun 2, 3, 4, 5, and Red Dawn, and, every other 80s film. Their rhetoric doesn't correlate. Their rhetoric never correlates to their own actions. Parabiology 101, thank you. Pilgrim Media! 365,000. Yeah, died of coronary artery disease, but little is said. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then cancer. And Pilgrim Media, how many people didn't get checkups? How many people couldn't even go to the dentist? I mean, could you imagine if you had a toothache during, the worst times of the pandemic when nobody could do anything? Could you imagine, how would you survive? I mean, we have 320 million Americans in this country. The blue states have the worst record, yet they run the narrative. Media completely ignored the fact that blue states lead the nation. Then they get around it by cases are rising in red states. Well, cases are rising. How many? Do you know the percentage of the people who are going to survive? They don't talk about the survival rate. They don't talk about the age, the ranges in terms of age of the cases. They don't talk about. They give statistics to paint a picture. that Trump's America is horrendous. Trump's America is a much better place than President Obama's America. Much better place, because 59% of Americans. Just ask the polls that talk about sentiment. Or at least a little bit more accurate, because it's sentiment. Majority of Americans better off under Trump than 4 years ago. This was a Gallup poll. And then, of course, you get 56% of voters say they're better off now. Then you get, oh, no, it doesn't mean that. Every single thing that destroys their narrative, they come out with a, no, the poll doesn't mean that. Well, what does it mean? Well, if you slice and dice the data, and then they're wrong again. I'll take the L. I'll take the loss if Madam Secretary doesn't save the Democratic Party. But I'll take the win also when President Trump goes 8 years. That'll be the second straight election that I predicted. That'll be the second straight election that all the famous pollsters lost dreadfully, were dreadfully wrong about, where Trafalgar and Rasmussen should become rock stars. Especially Trafalgar. Rasmussen has They did well too. They should both become rock stars, but I think they've been around longer. Trafalgar has been taking heat from. They're like, the new kids on the block, and they've been taking heat from like all the polls. Well, you know what? You just got. Then they talk about methodology. Well, the methodology of what? Polling more Democrats than Republicans. Oh, there's more Democrats out there. Yeah, but they don't vote. They're not as likely to vote. God, the polls are public relations. There's nothing scientific about this. There's nothing scientific about ABC News or CNN or MSNBC calling a person's house and spending an hour with them. You're being recorded. Why would you say you're voting for Trump if you live in an area that, if you're on social media and you're not really into, and you don't really have you care? Let's say if you care what people think of you, then why would you then say, "Oh, I'm voting for Trump"? Yeah, go ahead and. If you care what people think of you and you're in like some kind of industry, for example, if you're in academia, you better have tenure. They'll throw you out and you're behind. If you're in Hollywood, you'll never work again. If you are in Hollywood, if you say you're voting for Trump in Hollywood, you better be James Woods. You better be an icon like Roseanne Barr. You better be John Voight. You better be Kanye West. Because you will never work again in Hollywood. There are industries that take this very seriously. If you're in the entertainment industry, if you're in music, you will never work again if you say you're voting for Trump. So, do you think you're getting an accurate assessment? Well, we've taken that data in. I have no clue. When President Trump wins again, Helmut Norpoth, there should be a statue. Of course, they'll try to take it down, but there should be a statue of Helmut Norpoth. In fact, I think I'm going to make one. The Stony Brook professor who says that President Trump 3 months ago had a 91% chance of victory. And you know what? I warrant at least a bobblehead. If Helmut Norpoth statue, Trafalgar rock stars, at least give me H.A. Goodman a bobblehead. Because I've been right 2 straight elections. And you say, oh, well, you were wrong about Hillary. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't. She's done more. She's actually done more for humanity. She's suffered for our sins. So what do you want? She's a good human being. You're saying that you're trying to equate Madam Secretary to Satan. Okay. I see what you're doing. I'm not doing that. But anyway, Pilgrim Media, thank you, Christopher. Yes, for the second straight election. And it'll be because of the $20 million venture capital people. Christopher, it'll be because, look, there is no American left. The American left doesn't exist. There are idealistic good people, that are left leaning, the American left does not exist. There are progressives who exist. There is no progressive movement. There are leftists who exist. There is no left. There is no American left. When you have Bernie Sanders and the Lincoln Project voting for the same people, when you have James Comey and Bernie Sanders, the Lincoln Project, and Bette Midler voting for the same political party, you don't have a left. There is no left. There's no left. It doesn't exist. President Trump is not even a pure conservative. So the conservative movement, who knows what, but there's more of that, at least, than there is the left. There is no left. The left does not exist. So I'll have a lot of fun talking about that when President Trump wins on election night. The left does not exist. Look, I'm a Raider fan. Love the Raiders, okay? Our offense is fantastic. The defense needs to step up a little bit. You know, the defense is somewhat porous. Now, the defense has talent. Okay? Defense has a lot of talent. But our offense is awesome. That's why in about a year, 2 years, we can make the Super Bowl. I think Gruden is a fantastic coach. But I'm realistic. Got to fix the defense. Okay. The left is not realistic. They're not realistic. They think that because a whole lot of smart people believe something, that the country believes. Media does not reflect reality. Media tries to shape reality to the sentiments of the left-leaning intelligentsia that are always wrong in our country. Clinton did not win. Bernie was cheated. That's number one. Clinton did not win. That's number two. Trump did not work with Russia. That's number three. Trump did not pressure anyone. Number four. He got impeached on nonsense. Then when people say, well, he makes it everything about him. Well, the media makes everything about him. He asked, what do you want him to do? He's not Bernie Sanders. He fights back. Bernie doesn't fight back. Okay, I fight back. Someone says something really bad about me, I'm going to respond in kind. Reciprocal. Always reciprocal with me. Everything is reciprocal. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice. I'll offer reciprocity. If you're not nice, if you try to talk, you know what? Then you will get reciprocal behavior. That's why the left, when anyone wants to say something bad about me anymore, they know I'm going to come back. I'm going to pull Trump. So, I don't know why I'm laughing, but I actually know why I'm laughing. It's kind of funny. But anyway, life should be about reciprocity, or when you're debating a deranged Trump derangement, don't say anything to them. Don't even. That's different, though. If you have a YouTube channel, then you're fine. But at Thanksgiving, don't do anything. Just, you know what? Hey, it's too bad. Yeah, Trump. I can't believe America picked Trump again. Just I want some pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie, Trump. Pumpkin pie. Get out of my house. You're 8 years. Christian O'Brien. Yep. I agree. Christian O'Brien, thank you. For the algorithm, I just can't really. Christian, thank you. Thank you, Christian, as always. As you know, Christian O'Brien, I have one of the best history teachers I ever had in my life, Mr. O'Brien. He was amazing. Test Ecclesias. I wonder if anyone from the Bible days blamed the Great Flood. Wow. That's like the old SNL deep thoughts. Exactly. Test Ecclesias, thank you. Revco! There lies, damn liars. Exactly. Mark Twain. Dems only know how to lie. Yeah, that's right. And it's starting to destroy them. It can't happen fast enough. Exactly, Revco. They can't. They're at a certain point. If you're not genuine, you can't be credible. I'm not right about everything, but I'm genuine. I put my emotions on my sleeve, like President Trump, and I go all in. I'm saying Trump's going 8 years. I say Madam Secretary's going to replace Biden. If that doesn't happen, then tsunami of red Republican, Trump 8 years, and it's all good. I'll take the loss because I'm genuine. I take the loss because I'm genuine. I'm honest. But I also take the win, which I will take the win on November 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and the next 4 years. So next 4 years will be like I accurately called, which I did. I said NPR quoted me. I said President Trump will win the 2016 election, and then I've been telling you for 4 years Trump's going to go 8 years. Revco, thank you. Pilgrim Media. I forgot to tell you I'm a .com today. Awesome. Pilgrim Media. I don't exactly know what that means. I'm at a business, or if you started a business, or if you... I should know what that means. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. Pilgrim Media, congratulations. Congratulations nonetheless. Congratulations. Awesome. If you have a website, that's awesome. Pilgrim Media, keep up the fantastic work. Pilgrim Media, awesome. KSNF! To my UK viewers, to KSNF, thank you so very much, KSNF. And tell your friends in the UK, Australia, Canada, Nepal, Ivory Coast, Mexico, Hong Kong, people watching this channel, tell your friends. We're going to have a fantastic time. On November 3rd, Trump landslide could be the only chance to rid the old guard Democrats of ultra-left factions. I think KSNF, anything from a slight victory to a landslide is curtains. I think that would be sufficient. A victory, any type of victory, is sufficient to rid us of a current paradigm of thought on the left. But I agree with you. Landslide would make it quick. It would end that train of thought quickly. Similar to the Labour Party's momentum wing after the Boris Johnson supermajority. Yep. Why else choose the worst nominee combo? Exactly. Exactly. And you see it with Boris Johnson, and you see it with President Trump. You see it with Bolsonaro in Brazil. You see, and then the left is like, these are authoritarians. These are mean people. These people say bad things. Like, well, President Obama did worse than any of those people. Any of the people I mentioned, he did worse. He destroyed a country in Libya. They say Trump is an awful person. I think President Obama is a much worse human being. In terms of character, has a worse character than Trump. Ask the people of Libya. Go vacation in Libya. In Tripoli. Go to Tripoli, go to Kabul, go to Baghdad, go to Damascus, go to all the places where President Trump and President Obama and Bush's foreign policy brought peace and stability. Go do it. These people, this is the thing also, you have to understand, there's so much tribalism, KSNF, and there's so much tribalism. They're okay being wrong and they're okay losing as long as they hang out with each other, believe the same things. Of course, they're now anti-vaxxers because Trump is presiding over the vaccine. God forbid you should question any Democrat. They don't believe in science because now they don't want to take Trump's vaccine. They don't believe Tara Reid. I mean, they already suppressed the Tara Reid story. Now, with the computer from Hades, That doesn't exist. And then, Biden was speaking to George Lopez. And then Biden said he was going to beat Joe Biden. And then they said, no, he wasn't saying that. He wasn't saying that. And then they say, well, he has a speech impediment. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. It's not a stutter. There's nothing wrong with having a stutter. Nothing. But it's not a stutter. And they're so delusional. Every single thing they do, they are so delusional. It's unbelievable. They can't accept reality. That's why you can't debate. You can't debate anybody. The only KSNF, it'll be a gratifying victory for the entire planet because you've had to deal with these self-righteous, indignant, apoplectic, hysterical, seething, fuming, manic people. It's going to be very rewarding. President Trump's victory on November 3rd is going to be very rewarding. I don't understand. I think there's something going on. I don't know. I'm still going with Clinton replacing Biden. There's something going on. There's something going on. Something very bizarre. I can't know. Something's going on. They can't possibly be going with this man. They can't possibly be going with a person who the entire planet says is one fry short of a Happy Meal. He's lost his marbles. The man has lost his marbles. He's not playing with a full deck. He's one beer short of a six-pack. And so on and so forth. Something's going on, and I don't know what it is. I don't go into the Super Bowl wanting to lose. I don't go into the Rugby World Championship representing my country or the World Cup wanting to lose. Who does that? Democrats, I guess. Who wants to lose, man? Who wants to lose? There's no participation trophy with Trump. It's just you ain't gonna get any participation trophies or Pyrrhic victories or moral victories, or you're just going to get Trump for 8 years, which is fantastic. And then I've heard, the dumbest thing I've ever heard is, history will judge you poorly. I've heard this from a person. History will judge you poorly. Really? How will history? Why don't you vacation in Tripoli? Go right now. And you could see the fruits of President Obama's foreign policy. And I think Tripoli, you could actually... all the chaos and mayhem is outside Tripoli. Let's see, hold on. Let's see what Madam Secretary's old stomping ground says about Libya. Oh, this is good. President Obama's foreign policy is better than ever. Do not travel to Libya due to crime. The T word. And there's the T word, and then there's a word, the error. There's a word called error within the T word. And then ism. Civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. That's the perfect foreign policy from liberals. I mean, the perfect foreign policy. You understand. The T-word groups continue plotting attacks in Libya. Violent extremist activity in Libya remain high. Oh, well, that's President Obama's foreign policy. You should read. Go. God. First of all, God bless the people of Libya. God bless them. What President Obama did and Biden and Clinton is heinous and atrocious, and they must be awful human beings who have done what they did. Oh, that's right. Trump is the bad person. Trump is horrible. He's a supremacist, speaks to enablers. Anyway, getting back to the travel advisory from Madam Secretary's old stomping grounds where she didn't trust the computer networks. Team may attack with little or no warning, targeting tourist locations, hotels, transportation hubs, market, shopping malls, and government facilities. Thank you, President Obama, for bringing peace and stability from that authoritarian that you deposed with a NATO intervention. Thanks, NATO. Love you, NATO. Love you, NATO. Love you, NATO. Love you. Love you, 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 NATO. Thanks, NATO. You're the best. You're the best, NATO. There's nobody better than you. Militia or armed groups sometimes detain travelers for arbitrary reasons, do not grant detainees access to lawyer legal process, and do not allow detainees to inform others of their status. U.S. citizens should carry proof of citizenship. Okay, so Attacks may happen with little or no warning, targeting tourist locations, hotels, transportation hubs, market, shopping malls, and government facilities. Violent extremist activity in Libya remains high. Groups have made threats against U.S. government officials and citizens. Outbreaks of violence between competing armed groups can occur with little warning. Well, this is very good foreign policy. This smart policy is fantastic. Now, you should take a delegation, Democrats. You should take a delegation to Libya and just, go ahead and see what your foreign policy has, because that wasn't the case. That was not the case. It was limited to one region of the country, generally one region of the country. And you don't intervene in a country's affairs under the premise of bringing peace and stability and then leave with chaos and mayhem for a decade after. Worst case scenario, they could have had that with their authoritarian ruler, which very likely wouldn't have lasted this long. Maybe not even a couple of years. Then they say, we have to intervene. We have to intervene to help people. Then go travel there. Did you intervene to help people? Go travel there. No, tell me another country that says, "Oh, look what's happening in Portland. We have to go and overthrow the government of the U.S." KSNF, thank you, Justin Mooney. Trump campaign pulling ad money out of Florida and committing to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, and Ohio, admitting defeat or gambling because he feels confident about the win. I think they're gambling. I mean, yeah. I think that he feels pretty confident about the win in Florida. You look at a sign with Biden. By the way, I think somebody in the Trump administration watches my channel because they had the most hilarious. They had the most hilarious commercial showing Biden as a zombie. It's so funny. Justin Mooney, it's so funny. They have this hilarious it's Botox B as this. It's like, how do you spot a zombie? And then they show a Botox being going, oh, and just like, what's this with, like, Madam Secretary did the arf, 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 and then Biden did the oh. It's like, I think like they're like the demon possessing them actually is trying to come out. Like the demonic possession can only go on so long without, you actually like the demon trying to come out. So, but the staffers fixed that. So, Justin Mooney, thank you. I think that Minnesota is going to be a nice little prize. Mogo, Antiga, go, hello. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Mogo. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. Mogo Antiga Gogo, thank you so very, 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 very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for the kind words. Please be here, Mogo. Please be here. November 3rd is going to be fantastic. I'm not even, like, if they're actually this inept to go with Botox B, the Exhumed, and they're like, he's up. He's up by 10 points. Based on what? Because you don't like Trump? And your polls validate what you don't like? I don't have enough. I don't think highly enough of Botox B to actually really hate him or really despise him. Because I don't think highly enough. At this point, I have very little negative emotions towards Madam Secretary. God bless her. I'm waiting for her to save the Democratic Party. Apparently, the Democrats don't really... There's another example of rhetoric not correlating, well, yet at least, to action. It's pretty unbelievable. Mogo, thank you. Thank you. J-Spot 51. There's something funny about... No, they're all going to laugh at you. Exactly. I think you're referring to, whether people are honest about voting for Trump, or whether they're in an industry that allows them to actually voice their actual opinion. When you start talking about history and how history will judge somebody, and you haven't traveled to Libya because of foreign policy that was created by President Obama, there was an intervention about a decade ago from NATO led by President Obama. Okay? And it was in 2011. It is now 2020. They have not brought peace and stability. It's been chaos and mayhem. Absolute chaos and mayhem. Then you have Vox. Everyone says Libya intervention was a failure. They're wrong. Well, then why don't Vox journalists go to Libya? Why don't they go to Libya? This was in 2016. And then we get to the semantics. NATO intervened to protect civilians, not to set up democracy. Well, the civilians haven't been protected for the past 10 years. What? Then they're like, well, it would be chaotic even if they didn't intervene. That's not how you... What? How do you know this? How on earth could you possibly know this? The problem here is this is interesting. The problem here is that U.S. intervention did not, in fact, result in a costly disaster unless we are using the word result to simply connote that one thing happened after a previous thing. Okay. Yes, one thing did happen after a previous thing, even if there was chaos and mayhem beforehand, because the chaos and mayhem spread throughout the country and turned it into a completely failed state. It was not a failed state prior to the NATO intervention. This is a fact. It is now a failed state. There weren't two factions vying for power and no man's zones, and the intervention in today's violence are of course related, but this does not necessarily mean that there's a causal relationship. This is what happens when intelligent people are this is cognitive dissonance. So The fact that there's been chaos and mayhem and bloodshed for 10 years, that's not enough. Don't you understand? That's not enough to show that it's President Obama's fault. Don't you know? Because it would have happened anyway. This is the liberal mindset. It's the liberal mindset. From 1861 to 1865, we had our Civil War. We didn't have Great Britain or anyone else taking over our country or causing infinitely more mayhem, and we didn't. And so that Civil War would last 10, 20 years. If a country engages in a civil, conflict, you cannot predict what's going to happen, whether it's going to last a year or 2 years. Very likely, it's not going to last 10 years. Very likely, you'll have a side that achieves victory within 3 to 5 years, at least within that range. Probably less than that range. That's not always the case, but what Democrats do is, well, it was bad anyway, so we didn't really make it that much worse. It's like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And there are people who say that the authoritarian there would have ended up victorious at a certain point. So you at a certain point that was like within a year or 2 years. So you don't have this viewpoint that well, it was just to protect civilians. You didn't protect civilians. You did the opposite. You hurt them. And then a power vacuum took place. This always happens. So it's like the most narcissistic people on the planet. JSpot51, thank you. Hi-Fi Trucker. It's going to be an orange Christmas. Exactly. Orange candy canes. Exactly. Hi-Fi Trucker. I hope all is well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and oh my God, be here November 3rd. Hi-Fi Trucker, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Hi-Fi Trucker, thank you as always for your support. Thank you. P. Ramos! It's funny to see in my FB feed of friends exposing their fear and panic by posting pleas for people to vote Democrat. It's hilarious. I know, it's unbelievable. P. Ramos, I don't have Facebook or Twitter. If you see anyone on Twitter impersonating me, take screenshots, inform Twitter. They're breaking the law. But P. Ramos, they know it. They're so arrogant, P. Ramos. Thank you so very much. They're so arrogant that it's just dawning upon them now. So KSNF, everybody here. Justin Mooney, Hi-Fi Trucker, everybody here. It's just dawning upon them less than a week until November 3rd that, hey, wait a second. It's like the scene in Braveheart. It's like that scene in Braveheart where he's like Edward Longshanks. He's like, if they take... no, but it'll be the Electoral College. If they get close in Michigan, they could take Minnesota. And if they could take Minnesota, they can get close to the Electoral College victory. And then you get like the Democratic staffer, I'm skilled in the arts of war and warcraft. And he gets thrown out of the castle. One-way trip out the window into the moat. And I love the way he's like, you're skilled in the arts of war and warcraft, aren't you? He like walks him right to the window. They're like, Michigan, Ohio, and Florida? Yeah. Didn't you know that? Trump is going to win both of those states because he's pretty much been up in those states since he won the election. But he was up nationally. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything, genius. But Trump, but Botox B was up 16 points. Yes, so what? So what? So what? But everyone doesn't like Trump. No, you don't like Trump. You don't like Trump. And everyone you hang out with doesn't like Trump. 63 million people really like, or either like Trump or despise Democrats worse. Oh my God. It will be so rewarding. Because just from a karma, level of karma, it'll be like, you lost twice. It's floating around. You lost twice. So shut up. And it'll be floating around. People, what's that? Did you hear that? Oh, I heard that. You might not have heard that, but maybe your subconscious will hear it. You lost twice. Maybe you're not as smart as you think. Maybe you're actually an imbecile. It'll be floating in the ether, these messages. Not on social media, not on cyberspace. Through the air, through like quantum physics, within the air. They'll be like, you lost 2 straight elections. Because you've lost your mind. Yep. And I think that was going to be you cheated Bernie. P. Ramos. Oh, I love that too. Don't say, P. Ramos, don't say anything. God bless you. And everybody here, P. Ramos, thank you as always for your support. Don't say anything to anybody. Even if someone says to you, I can't believe you, P. Ramos, that you would vote for Trump. Don't even acknowledge. Just be like, just God bless you. Have a fantastic Christmas. As you write it, be like, I'm sorry. Don't even say I'm sorry you feel that way. Just be like, Merry Christmas. This is what I don't have Facebook or Twitter, but if someone's like, I just want to let you know, I'm so upset with you for Trump. Merry Christmas. Exclamation point. Roy, hello. Merry Christmas. Paul Bartlett, hello. Anything that's said to you, just be like, God bless you. Do not engage. The only thing, just send them messages of warmth, which will end up being insults anyway, because they'll take it that way. You'd be like, you just ruined this country for a generation. May God be with you. May God be with you. They won't even be able to process it. P. Ramos, thank you. Ken Palmer, I'm waiting. Hillary, I'm waiting. Scott, hello. I'm waiting. I'm still going with that. Going with 8 years also. President Trump going 8 years. The Bill, ABC TV. H.A. Goodman, I hope Trump wins. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I support Trump, and I support your channels. Thank you so much. Thank you to my Australian viewers, The Bill, ABC TV. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you so very, very much for watching. Thank you. Thank you. It means a great deal, and I appreciate that. It's going to be fantastic. Please be here. Be here November 3rd, which will be your November 4th. But be here. Pilgrim Media, they probably wanted a whole lot of things. They probably wanted a whole lot of things, too. Raphael Koch. I don't know. I don't know if it could. Pennsylvania is already teetering on. The thing with Pennsylvania is that early voting. That's the only state where early voting Democrats crushed it. So, That's the only state where Democrats did quite well. But you know what? A small percentage of the population actually voted early voting, so, or a smaller, I should say, percentage, not small. This is New York Times 3 hours ago. Can we trust Pennsylvania polls? The meltdown will be cataclysmic. Luke St. Martin. Quick draw. Luke St. Martin. Thank you. The meltdown will be cataclysmic. Cataclysmic meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. It's 1 hour. I will be back 9 p.m. Pacific tonight. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific. God bless you all. It's happening. It's happening. We're getting closer to, I don't know, you wouldn't even get a football coach who has the mannerisms or the mental capacity at this moment of Botox B. You couldn't even get a mayor. He couldn't even win mayor of a town. They want this man to run the country, and everyone knows, even Democrats know, that everyone around him is actually running the show, which is sad. I mean, just, forget about the computer problems and his son is selling access to the vice presidency. No, not everything's the same. Fine, where did Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. sell access to the vice presidency? If not, it's not the same. Well, they did this, still not the same. What Botox B did and his son, infinitely worse. Give me your thoughts below. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific, everybody. Sam, thank you. P. Ramos, thank you. Everybody here. Mitchell, thank you. Everybody, thank you. I'll see you, Eric and Luke and everybody. I'll see you at 9 p.m. Pacific. Thanks, everybody. Jane, thank you. Thank you so very much, Jane. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Jane, thank you so very much. I'll see you tonight. I'll see everybody tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific on this channel. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Thank you, everybody. See you at 9.